So you are a web developer and you like Gitpod and cloud-based development environments, but they don't quite fit since you have plenty of local tools, Sketch for images or your favorite text editor. My name is Heiko, and in this video I want to show you how you can mount Gitpod Workspaces using WebDAV into your local file system. And in doing so, those local tools will be available, and a bunch of new processes and workflows can be enabled. So I created this little repository here just as an example, and I'm hitting the Gitpod button to open it in Gitpod. In case you are not aware of this, this is a Chrome extension that makes it visible, but all it does is prepending gitpod.io, the URL with this prefix. So, and then it opens it in the browser. What you get now is this development environment in the browser. And this is what most people see and think Gitpod is. You have an IDE that doesn't look unlike Visual Studio code, but in a browser. Well, and yes, it is, but it's far more. This little project here consists of a very simple HTML page that says hello, shows an image, and it's being delivered here. You can make changes, hey, and as I'm saving it and reloading it, it's been updated here. Nothing new, Gitpod does this, but I'm now incrementally going to where I want to be and basically getting rid of this whole browser altogether. First of all, this is a public facing web server. So you can open this in any browser and refresh it here, and I don't really need this preview pane. I can now alter the files and make changes, and whenever I do that and refresh the page, it's been reflected. And that happens because I have a dev server running here inside of my workspace that also transpiles TypeScript, because I have some logic here that concatenates world to hello, and it's been transpiled on the fly so that the browser can eventually, sees a JavaScript file. This is not the only server running in this workspace here. What I also put up is a WebDAV server. Let me extend this here a little bit. And for those of you who don't know what WebDAV is, it's basically yet another web standard, so to speak, that surfaces files through HTML. So this one is protected, very secure, don't do this at home. And basically it delivers an XML file describing the structure of this file system here in XML, and clients that speak WebDAV can now use put commands to update these files and so forth. But you may wonder what kind of clients should do that. Well, it just happens that macOS itself supports WebDAV. So if you say connect to server and you use the URL I copied here from the logs, you can actually connect to the very same file system, admin. Again, this is just an example. You will find the configuration of the WebDAV server here, and it's an unsafe example. But yeah, here you go. You have the file system. You have the bin, node modules, source file. Here's your index.html. And if you would copy that file to an index2, you see that there is now a new index2 in that workspace. I will delete that again, because what I want is actually modifying these files with local tools. So here I'm opening the HTML file with Atom. Know the irony of using Atom here in this particular case is not lost on me. So the idea here is that you open Atom. Atom believes it's a local file, and you can say, hey, from Atom. And as I'm hitting save, the file is being updated in the workspace. And sure enough, when I'm refreshing the browser, it is updated. So at this point, I could totally get rid of the cloud-based editor and use my local editing. But I haven't really gained much here, have I? Where it really becomes beautiful is if I use, for example, Chrome's DevTools. Let me open up the DevTools. So here, I can inspect the page, and I can also, sources page, I can also put in breakpoints and such. So here you see that the JavaScript that's been delivered doesn't look really like the TypeScript. Indentation is off, variables had been minified, and that's because TypeScript here was transpiled to JavaScript. Not only do the Chrome DevTools understand source maps, they also allow you to mount local file system, to map to what a public browser delivers. So the assumption here, the DevTools believe that you run a web server locally at localhost, and the browser gets it via HTTP, and locally you would then modify files and refresh the page, right? And we do basically the same thing here. I now mounted my local file system, which is actually a mirror of the workspace inside of Gitpod. As I'm loading this page here, refresh, it is being mapped back to this file. And I can now inspect variables, I can inspect properties of the elements, and I can see that there's actually a space missing between the hello from Adam and the who. So let me do that, let me alter the source code here. I'm hitting save, the TypeScript was updated. So yeah, let me just hit refresh, and also let me change back the HTML. So yeah, here we are. Maybe just hello. And this is really powerful now. Many of these tools are optimized for a development workflow that happens locally. And by mounting the Gitpod workspace back into your local file system, they are all just enabled. So that's for code. Another typical scenario in web development is when you deal with graphics. In fact, we have a graphic here, like a PNG, and we have a little fav icon over here. The repository has a sketch file, so I'm opening that. And Sketch, as many other graphic tools, do allow you to bulk export images. So here I'm changing the color a little bit, make it nicer, update my style so that the fav icon matches it immediately. And I want to pick a background color. That looks nice. Hit export, and now I'm choosing my the source folder that is now mounted to my local file system. And if you look at these files here, they are modified because the workspace, of course, and all its files are tracked using Git. You can preview them in the Cloud IDE. But what I actually would do as a designer is I would refresh the page. So here I'm refreshing the page and I say, oops, actually that background color is not exactly what I wanted. Let me disable that again. So I'm disabling it. Oops, I'm disabling that, exporting it. And now as I'm refreshing the page, this is gone. Cool. So there are quirks with all of that. You may have seen that the sketch file couldn't be saved. Not every external tool works smoothly when it comes to write operations with that particular WebDAV server. It's also bad that macOS caches files. So if you think about the opposite direction, the workspace produces something, binaries, reports, or whatever, macOS wouldn't automatically pick it up. That is in part because WebDAV has no concept of notifications of file changes in this direction. Also, macOS in particular, once the web server is gone, say you stop the workspace, you cannot really easily unmount the folder anymore. So please keep in mind that all of this is just a proof of concept to see what kind of workflows you could enable by mounting a Gitpod workspace into your local file system. And we need to see how it goes from here. Leave comments in the video below. I will link to the repository in the video description for Git, leave comments over there. I, for one, will explore this idea further for my setups where I connect even external gadgets and would like to build on the workspace, create an image, say, for an Arduino or other embedded devices, and then deploy it locally because the server doesn't have access to it. So yeah. Try it out, have fun, and let me know what you think.